finding enjoyment of pushing myself into the smallest gaps. It sounds a bit creepy, but it was like, it was to it was to test myself, to say, that's fine. Like you can put me in any situation now, well, to a degree, and I'm not going to flinch like I did 6 months prior.
Because you can deal with it a lot easier now, and it's going through any big experience, whether it's this is called the school of struggle for a reason, because it's all the adversities we go through, which makes us stronger moving forward. So, the anxieties that you would go through now would be because of problems that are much larger scale than you've previously dealt with. Because the stuff that you've previously dealt with, you can tackle them easily because you've been there, done that. And people think that life is like a straight road, and sometimes people who are new to business think that as well. And what happens is that you're gonna face roadblocks of anxiety. It's gonna happen, but the reason why that's happening is because it's making you better, right?
It's a growth state.
You have to face it. So like a lot of people shy away from it, and then they face their anxiety and they give up, right? And and then they don't get anywhere in life, right? Where with what I've done, I've learned to embrace anxiety. I actually love anxiety now. I love it, right? Because I know wherever there's anxiety, there's opportunity to grow.
100%.
Right? So,
Very well put.
One of my biggest, moments of anxiety was a few years ago when I got back from a 5-week holiday, and I just got engaged. So I've just, spent a mozza on the ring, and we went all out in the holiday. I just invested into all of these businesses and properties, and things were starting to fall apart. Business partners were starting to leave me, and all of this bad stuff started to happen. And it was a tough time of my life. And the way I dealt with it then was that I pretended that I was another person, and I stepped away from myself, right? And I took a bird's eye view of my life and basically just deconstructed everything. And how I overcame that anxiety, right? It was a process, obviously, but how I overcame it was that I thought to myself, what's my purpose? What's my why, right? And if my purpose is greater than the level of anxiety that I have, then I'll get over that anxiety, right? Now, if the anxiety is greater than my purpose, then I've got to find a new why, right?
Correct.
I've got to find a new purpose.
Correct.
My purpose was so much bigger than what I was actually going through. So I became less anxious after that, right? Because I was just able to just move on.
Anytime you can look at it that way, you look at the bigger picture. And
that's right.
That strategy that you use where you're literally, almost looking at your life from a bird's eye view is amazing. I've done that myself too.
Take a step back.
100%.
Yeah.
Look at where you want to be. Where you are right now might not be the best place,
Because
obviously.
for guys like us who are in business, we love to get our hands dirty.
Yep.
We're in it, and we're in the trenches, and we're taking out the trash even, you know what I mean? Like it's just in us because we've started from the bottom. We all have, right? But it's so easy to get caught up in, like all of the minor, small, intricacies of doing business, that you get caught up in the political issues and the drama and all of that sort of stuff. But you don't take a step back and go, hang on, why am I doing this? What's the whole reason behind all of this? Right? And
Correct.
Looking at the bigger picture, Chris, like you said, that's what you've continually got to look at. Long-term, bigger picture.
Correct. And when you're in that state as well, like, it's a different way of looking at exactly what you just said too, that might resonate to some people because they may not be able to look at things from a bird's eye view. But is it the 5x5 rule? If it's not going to affect you in 5 years, don't think about it for more than 5 minutes. Because that's a huge one. I've exercised that in the past as well. It's like, well, am I even going to know that person in 5 years? Like, is that deal going to be done in 5 years? Is that? You know what I mean? And it's a really good strategy because if it's only going to affect you that long, you put a plan in place and you fix it.
That's right.
I know it's easier said than done to some.
You got to practice it.
Exactly.
And you get better at it.
Exactly right. When I first started, I sucked at it.
Yeah.
It was really bad.
Yeah.
Now, I can give me 5 minutes on anything. I have my strategy. I can do. I'll be able to fix it and probably get better at it 10 times over. But I need that this couple minutes to regroup mentally and be like, all right, sweet. Now I've got my plan on it and move on from there.
And as cliche as this may sound as well, it's also forgetting what others think of your situation.
Yeah, 100%.
That's a big one, I feel, that people sometimes may look over and they may tell themselves these things all the time. Like, Yeah, I don't care what others think. That's bullshit. They do care what others think. You know what I mean?
Well, it's one of the main causes of anxiety for people.
100%.
It affected me.
It's what other people think. 100%.
It affected me years ago.
Status or this or that.
Ego.
Ego's the biggest player, I think. One of the biggest anyway.
You put yourself on a level, and then you think, oh, I've always got to stay on that level. And we've talked about, again, this podcast, its core purpose is the school of struggle. It's about embracing your failures and doing it again and
learning from it.
Right?
Correct.
And that's big at the moment in the world, where everyone's talking about, well, not everyone, but there's a bit of talk that we look into where people say, the big players of the world, you've got to fail before you can succeed. You're never going to succeed from day one. But if people get the vision of if they put their indicators on the side of their eyes and forget everyone around them and not worry about the failure, and I'm talking about their parents, their loved ones, their friends,
and they're the worst ones.
Exactly, that's right.
They're the worst
critical.
ones.
They're the most critical.
So for the listeners out there, fuck them. You know,
I 100% agree because
100%.
Look, when it comes down to it, the opinions of your closest are the ones that obviously you have to care about to some degree, but they're the ones that are always going to have, say, put it on a business perspective. We mentioned this 2 or 3 podcasts ago, Zah, that your family didn't...
In my 20s.
Yeah, in your 20s. Didn't want to care about what you were doing because they didn't see it as a safe option for you. You know how many times I've sat there and I've had my family go, that's not safe, you shouldn't be doing that. Now I've gone... I walked out there and said, fuck off. Now they've turned around and gone, you were right. Hey, I'm like, I fucking told you. Like, if you just listen, for God's sake. You know what I mean?
Sometimes it is the people that are closest
believe
to
in yourself too. You know what I mean?
You've got to back yourself, right? It's the people generally who are closest to you who will tell you those negative thoughts of theirs, right? And I had to go through it for years, right? And it's only been in the last couple of years where I've just gone, you know what, fuck everyone else. I'm going to do what I have to do. I've got one life to live, right? And I'm not living it for everybody else. I'm living it for myself, right?
By your design, right? Like,
that's right. Yeah. You know what I mean? So it's up to me what I do from here. And I don't want to get to, say, 85 years old and go, you know what, like, I didn't do A, B, C, and D because... I was worried about what that other person was thinking. You know what? So when you think about it like that, you go, fuck the other person, right? I'm going to do what I want to do.
Correct.
Right? I'm going to chase my dreams. And you know what? You won't get anxiety, right? If your purpose, going back to your purpose being so big, right? Let's say the worst case is you die, right? So, for example, I go and pursue my dreams, and worst case scenario is I do die. You know what? I die a happy man because I went out pursuing my dream, not someone else's.
Yep.
2 things to mention on that. We all know who it is, but some of the people listening may not know who Gary Vaynerchuk is. Really well-respected entrepreneur who does a lot of sort of talks and stuff as well. His biggest motivator when someone asks him is death. You're going to fucking die anyway. Do something hectic between now and then. Between now and then, do something amazing that people are going to remember you for.
It's powerful.
It's powerful. One of my biggest anxieties now is not achieving the goals I set out. I'm pretty structured. I know what it takes to get to where I want to be, but sometimes if you put a time limit on it, or if you if you have too many things on your plate at the same time as well, it can increase the anxiety. You go, all right, cool, I'm struggling in one area, or I need to increase some time on this project or whatever it is. Some of the anxieties I get are not achieving the best results that I could.
But it's pushing you to be creative,
and that's all it is. It's pushing me to be creative, and I've said this before. I'm the hardest person on myself, not my family, not anyone. I'm the hardest person on myself, day in, day out.
Yeah, we all are.
That within
we're
itself,
all hard on you as well.
Yeah, but for the best, you know what I mean. And that within itself can almost cause anxiety because if you're sitting there going, "Fucking, you're not doing good enough. Go harder, go harder." That can cause anxiety within itself now too, but it's just being aware of that and where to draw the line sometimes.
Balance.
100%.
Balance. And I think the problem is that a lot of, you know, we're growing up in a generation now where all kids are being patted on the back saying, you know, everybody's a winner. Right? So what happens is that they get to say...
Achievement Award.
25, 26, and they go, well, they realise they're not really a winner. Do you know what I mean? Because they're actually a loser. Right? You know, they've got this false sense of self-worth. And, you know, I think it's good to be hard on yourself. My father was so hard on me, and he was almost so hard on me, he was quite negative, right? But I can see now how good that was for my childhood, to be honest with you. So I do think it's a bit of a balance, right? Some people can't take it, some people can, you know what I mean? But I definitely used it as a tool to succeed in my life, not through just monetary value, but also through, being wealthy in the mind, and it's put me under good pressure to learn new things, to meet the right people, to make the right moves. And, it's also forced me to do bad moves as well, but I've learnt from those bad moves, Yep. So, and I hope at the end of this podcast, people will view anxiety as a good thing. Because you can, 100%. It's like a loaded gun.
100%.
Right? You can use it to kill yourself.
Yep.
Or you can use it to protect yourself and get ahead.
If you're in a state where anxiety's coming up in any means, you just need to dissect the situation and work out how to get further in it. Like, you use it to your advantage, which is what all three of us do. But there's some people out there where they don't know that strategy yet, and I'm really hoping that this does help them, because this is some cracker strategies on that too. But just obviously find a purpose to go towards as well. See, one group of people that I know have massive anxiety are super successful people. One of the biggest that I know about, and this is just being in the health, fitness, and sporting world, is high elite sporting athletes. Some of them have, because they're in their world, all they do is train. They're going towards the goal. Say it's in the fight world, going towards a fight. If they're a soccer player, going towards just getting to the games every week and training and all this stuff. They get lost in that so much that they're so antisocial, and their whole mind state is based around what people think of them at the same time as well. Like, another one's actors as well. I know a fair few actors, and their self-worth is almost underground, because they literally walk into auditions, and if they don't get it, they think they're shit in life, full stop. And that I think is ridiculous, because obviously you're not. You've been casted in a million different things, and you're amazing at what you do. But I think the thought process of even high elite level actors, athletes, and all sort of stuff having this anxiety about this stuff too is crazy within itself. And I think one of the biggest things you can take out of that is, just because they work so hard towards all these different things, they didn't know that anxiety was going to be a part of it. But if they'd worked on little strategies to prevent that from happening in the long run, they'd probably be happier than where they are. Because you get a lot of people that kill themselves too, like musicians. Kurt Cobain, he died because he had depression.
Chester.
Yeah, Chester from Linkin Park, who just killed himself. Was it Thursday last week or something like that?
I think so, yeah.
Thursday last week, he killed himself because of depression, and no one knew a thing. This is one of the biggest artists in the world ever. He'd done so many great things for the world, not just within music, but some of the programs that he put together for different charities and all this stuff as well. The actual, I'm not sure how true the press release was, because I did read it, but no one had any clue. Now, to some degree, someone had to have known. And I think that press release may have been to sort of save the image or whatever. But if that's the case, if you have it, tell someone, please, firstly. But these high level elite people, they can kill themselves over it and all sort of stuff too. And that kind of scares me sometimes, because like, these are the epitome of what people want to grow up to be like, and that can almost be getting to the point where you kill yourself. You know what I mean?
Yeah. It's also getting worse, Chris.
Yeah,
Mark. Right? It's getting to a point where I think depression and anxiety, like the rates are quite high now. And it's a lot of it's got to do with social media. And,
correct.
Image. How the world's evolving, and correct. We all know how it is evolving. But my view on it is that what should happen is that mental fitness should be taught in school.
Right? Oh yeah, I agree. I agree on that.
And that could just be as simple as just a little bit of personal development. It could be a period a week on personal development, and it needs to be compulsory. Just like how we talk about financial education, like it's not taught in school, right? No one's taught to manage their money when they're in school. So when they go out into the real world, they actually earn money. They don't know what to do with it, and that's why a lot of people go broke. So, and with anxiety and depression levels, the rates, rising and rising and rising. I think what should be mandatory with these schools is that they should make personal development a compulsory subject from basically kindergarten all the way to year 12, because you need to prepare these people mentally, whether they're going to be ultra successful